Hi everyone, welcome to CNB. It's a brand new episode. I am Siddharth Vinayak Parthankar and we have a lot packed in today. So let's get started straight up with the new Nissan Magnite. Now you've already seen the review. Now it's time to compare it to its big rivals. We recently had a big shootout. You remember the Hyundai Venue stayed ahead of the rest. And so it's time to put the Magnite and Venue head to head against each other to figure out if the Magnite has the goods. Don't forget, prices just got announced and they're pretty sensational. The Nissan Magnite is the latest to arrive in India's very exciting subcompact SUV segment. Large in volume and growth terms, the segment also sees a very tough competition set. The Magnite is attractively styled, has a decent equipment list, and even sports a turbo petrol option besides a naturally aspirated petrol. Though there is no diesel, the turbo also features a CVT variant. It was just a few weeks ago when the Kia Sonet arrived and we went through the whole segment to figure out if our reigning champion, the Hyundai Venue, stayed on top. The Tata Nexon did not show up for the clash and we are tired of explaining that we did not intentionally keep it out. Still, given the Nexon had lost to the Venue before, it didn't bother us as much. The Hyundai Venue managed to beat the Sonet, Mahindra XUV 300, Ford EcoSport, Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza and, like I said, will stay ahead of the Nexon. And yes, also the Toyota Urban Cruiser, which is really just the Vitara Brezza anyway.
And that's why any new entrant to the subcompact SUV segment has to take on the benchmark. New Nissan Magnite pitting itself against what we consider the winner so far in the subcompact space.
The Magnite and Venue are similar in size and both have modern, sharp looks. If you ask me, the Magnite is better looking and also has a better SUV stance. And though the Magnite's face is really more Datsun than Nissan, the DRLs, fog lights and sharply designed headlamp cluster with LED indicators give it head-turning presence. The Venue looks modern and different though, with its slim DRLs up top and headlights down low. Both have two-tone roof options and LED lighting. Let's get both on the road. The Venue has an array of engine options: petrol, turbo, petrol and diesel. And then there are the gearboxes: manual and clutchless manual or IMT and dual clutch auto or DCT options on the turbo. The car drives well, handles well and has a comfortable car-like feel. The sporty performance on the turbo and the good dynamics are its strengths. The 7-speed DCT has paddle shifters at the top end, which is cool. A look at its drivetrain options. The Magnite will feel more SUV-like. There is a touch of body roll, but otherwise the turbo here is also very punchy and fun. The CVT is not as exciting as the DCT for sure, but offers attractive mileage drives well, and the Magnite feels light and zippy, but does also feel less well built, as I said in my review. The car's NVH, or noise, vibration and harshness, could be a lot better. The steering is good, but a bit too light for my liking. On the manual side, the Magnite does feel more exciting, but the sheer number of options and more sophisticated DCT turbo as well as IMT turbo options on the Venue help it move ahead on performance.
Now, Nissan's making a very big deal about how tech-heavy and gadget-heavy the Magnite is. The car does well, and you know what? So does the Venue. But when it comes to in-car technology, the car that's really killing it right now is undoubtedly the Kia Sonet. So on this aspect, it's important to compare these two.
The Sonet is immediately more upmarket and opulent by comparison. The cabin feels rich, well built with good material quality, and is loaded with tech, and not just at the top end. The massive 10.25-inch touchscreen is only in the high-end variants. The mid trims get an 8-inch screen similar to the Venue's. In fact, on tech, connectivity, and embedded SIM-based internet telematics and remote functionality, the Venue and Sonet are very similar. Kia's Yuvo Connect, telematics and connectivity solution, inbuilt air purifier with its virus protection claim, and the Bose sound system sure do get your attention. The Magnite's 8-inch screen is actually really nice in terms of shape, position, and operation. It also gets a virtual cluster, but its seats and cabin feel are flimsy by comparison to the Sonet. Nissan has played it smart by offering some items as optional paid extras, keeping the ex-showroom price a lot more attractive. So things like the wireless charger, air purifier, etc. are part of an add-on tech pack. So is the Nissan Connect data SIM card-based telematics offering. The Magnite scores on rear seat legroom and overall space though. All three do reasonably well on safety with dual airbags, seatbelt reminders and ABS as standard. The Sonet and Venue do have higher variants with 6 airbags, while the Magnite does not. The part which remains unknown is their crash capability. Neither of these cars has been tested that we know of, and we have no scores to share. Now, prices. And here there seems to be an apples to oranges comparison. The Magnite has deftly steered itself to almost its own segment by starting with an introductory, unbelievable price that is rock bottom at 4,99,000 rupees. Wow! That is a whole 1,70,000 less than the other two, and almost 2 lakhs cheaper than the Tata Nexon, and even more so when compared to the Vitara Brezza, Ford EcoSport and XUV 300. Nissan says the prices will be effective till the 31st of December, but even in the new year, the base version will go up to 5.5 lakhs, keeping it the lowest entry price in the segment. And that's largely true variant for variant. I reckon the segment will end up splitting into two, with the Nissan Magnite, Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza, Tata Nexon and Toyota Urban Cruiser at one end, and the Mahindra XUV 300, Ford EcoSport, Kia Sonet and Hyundai Venue at the higher end. Given the prices, we simply cannot ignore the value the Nissan Magnite offers. It is not the best in terms of its build or its cabin finish, but it does sport a great turbo engine option, a decent equipment list, and hence comes out looking shiny and new in this three-way fight.
So the Magnite stealing the show, but like I said there, I'd love to see some crash test results for all those cars. Now we'll take a short break. You're wondering why I am with the BMW R18. Well, you can catch the entire review on our YouTube channel. The URL is on your screens. But I will show you a different BMW on the other side of this break.
Imposing looks, V8 engine, and a badge to send a chill down your spine. That is the all-new BMW X5 M competition. The even more potent avatar of the powered-up X5, the competition gives you an additional 25 horses over the regular X5 M. The good news is that unlike the past, India is getting the juiced-up version. Well, it seemed for a while that it was Mercedes-Benz bringing us one AMG after another, and of late, it's been BMW bringing us lots of M models. M8, X3 M, and now this beast. And this one, I have spent a lot of time with, and I can tell you everything you need to know about it, which also means I can jump in from word go and have myself a blast. And in M-Town, that means being on the road and moving, preferably fast. The extensive drive I did with the X5 M competition before already had me salivating. And so I began this drive with a heavy foot, straight off the bat. The X5M and the X6M, its twin, were the first performance cars I drove in 2020, and they were also the last cars that I tested outside of India. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I mean, it's been a crazy year. So much has changed, and of course, travel overseas to test vehicles. I'm not quite sure when that's going to resume for me in any case. Why am I telling you all this? Because even though I've had the chance to test cars here domestically since then, just being able to get back into this one, the sense of freedom that it gives you, it's kind of liberating. If it is a sense of liberation and exhilaration you seek, nothing more sublime than the X5 M competition to help you get there. The car's engineering is simply brilliant. And as I told you in March, despite the size and weight, this car will do things you will not expect. Now this is one of those physics-defying SUVs. It does everything you want it to, almost like a sports car, though of course sitting much higher. And yet, you don't get that uncomfortable feel like you do, or the hard feel, or even the body roll. Nope. All of that gets countered by all the electronics that are at work, and it makes you feel like you just are one of the best drivers around. It's flattering and it's fun. A reminder of the car's specs now. The 4.4-litre V8 is refined and roars to life. It gives you not just massive amounts of power, but also tons of torque. The gearbox is, as you'd expect, quick and effortless. The paddle shift makes the gear changes even more fun. The X5M competition has an M-specific chassis, and that means it also has an adaptive M suspension, with variable damper control. The all-wheel drive is also the MX drive, which gets a special off-road mode. The car's active M differential, M compound brakes, and ABS with stability control, active roll stabilization, and M servotronic steering are also all standard. The power delivery maintains a rear bias, but the X-Drive will service whichever wheel needs more traction in real time, and flawlessly, I might add. You can customize the throttle, gear shift, and even program the M1 and M2 keys on the steering. Yes, the X5 is loud, but it will not split your ears, especially when you're outside it. There is a button on the central console between the front seats that lets you make the pipes louder or not. The ride quality is pretty good. While stiff, it is never hard, even in sport mode. And that's a relief given our roads. And also given how hard the X3M's setup feels, for instance. Steering is excellent on the X5M competition, and the car's handling matches its sharp response despite the proportions, as I said earlier. The proportions of the X5 lend well to the M Avatar too. The look is definitely more aggressive, and all the blacked out bits look super sexy, making the Hulk look a bit more lithe too. It gets larger air intakes, aerodynamic mirrors, a rear diffuser, and 2 pairs of twin exhaust tailpipes, M-badged grills on the side panels, a rear spoiler, and it is 21-inch wheels up front, 22-inch at the rear. And do I really need to tell you that I simply love the color on my test car? Now, I spent a whole week with it, and I could not stop taking pictures of it almost every one of those 7 days. Oh, it's called Toronto Red, though I have to say it's more tangerine. You have an option of grey, white, 2 black finishes, a bright blue, and a dull gold. The cabin is superbly finished, both in terms of materials and palette. The best part of the cabin is how everything feels like it just belongs, making ergonomics and comfort also pretty darn perfect. All the latest gadgets, wireless connectivity and charging, and safety systems are standard on this car anyway. I don't really have to tell you that. And that includes multiple airbags, crash sensors, and ISOFIX. The BMW X5 M competition has been launched about 10 lakh rupees higher than I had predicted, but even so, it's not a difference that will matter to a buyer at this end of the market anyway. It takes on the Range Rover Sport SVR and Mercedes-AMG GLE 53 Coupe.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked the X5M. Please react to it. My Twitter ID is @SidPatankar. And remember that all our reviews and videos, including this one, are on youtube.com/carandbike. Please react to everything you've seen. Please do wear your helmets and your seatbelts if you're in a vehicle, front or back. And definitely join me next week. Bye-bye.